On the 68th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about the MLB playoffs and MLB news. We're going to be doing our NFL Pickems and some interesting things that are happening in the NFL. We're going to be ranking the top 5 sports fan bases and ending it off with some Hall of Fame, yay or nay. Special shout out to Dubby for sponsoring this week's podcast. Roll it! Welcome to HatTrick Sports, starring your host, Isaiah Carpenter. Bringing you the biggest sports headlines every week. This is the HatTrick Sports Podcast. All right, let's start this off with MLB. The MLB postseason continues. There's only 4 teams left. You have the Dodgers, you have the Mets, you have the Guardians, and you have the Yankees. Who will make it to the World Series and who will win the World Series is the big question at stake. So you had the Dodgers and Padres play each other, which was a great series. It went down to the final game. Even though the Padres' offense looked horrible in the last half of the series, the Dodgers still come out on top. And let's see what happens with the Dodgers and Mets. I'm going to be saying who I think will win and why. And then you obviously have the Yankees and the Guardians. The Guardians just last night, we're filming this on October 13th. On October 12th, the Guardians played the Tigers, and man, it was actually a pretty good game until the Guardians just went up. They had that grand slam. You had Thomas hit the grand slam. But let's talk about the Dodgers and Mets. Who will win this NLCS series? I guess the S stands for series, but who will win this NL Championship series? So the Dodgers, let's talk about the pros. The Dodgers, they have a stacked lineup. They have a stacked payroll. They have a stacked roster. Let's be completely honest. They have Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts. Now, they have a great bullpen. But that doesn't mean that they have great starters. Now, we have obviously seen dozens of pitchers injured in the Dodgers organization this season. And will that become a problem against the Mets? Because the Mets obviously have they have the culture. Now, the Mets, they have Francisco Lindor. Pete Alonso isn't having his greatest season ever. But it's all about kind of culture there. They have the Jose Iglesias OMG stuff that's going insanely viral. The Grimace, obviously. They have the Pete Pumpkin or whatever, Pete Alonso's playoff pumpkin. And so, yeah, they have the culture. The Dodgers have the roster. Now, when it comes down to MLB playoffs, let me be very clear. This is why the Dodgers don't win every year. It's not always the best team that wins. I mean, we obviously saw the Diamondbacks and Rangers make it to the World Series last year. Nobody would have ever guessed that if it was based off of the best team. It's a lot based off of culture, like the Mets have, and it's a lot based off of, I do think the Dodgers have a good enough lineup to make it to the World Series and potentially win the World Series. So, how many games will it go into? Now, a lot of reporters, I'll actually tell you the vote. So, out of 7 reporters that voted, 2 think that it'll go to 7 games, 3 think it'll go to 6 games, and 2 think it'll go to 5 games. And the Dodgers have 7. Okay. Never mind. I take that back. There are a total of 13 reporters that voted for this CS series, the NLCS. 7 said that the Dodgers would win. 2 said in 7 games. 3 said in 6 games. 2 said in 5 games. And 6 guys said that the Mets were going to win the NLCS. And 4 think it'll go to 7 games, and 2 think it'll go to 6 games. And they think that if the MVP, if the Dodgers win, would be Shohei Ohtani, which 5 chose that, 1 chose Mookie, and then 1 chose Teoscar Hernandez, which, hey, Teoscar Hernandez, Kike Hernandez, and Max Muncy, don't cut re-sign these guys. We need these guys for longer just because of the playoffs. I mean, whatever. We can win the division 1,000,000 times, but it doesn't matter as long as you make it and win the playoffs, if that makes sense. But if the Mets win, these reporters have voted that Francisco Lindor, Sean Manaea, Starling Marte, Brandon Nimmo will end up being those MVP. That will be the MVP if the Mets end up winning the NLCS and making it to the World Series. But for the ALCS, you have the Yankees and Guardians. Now, the Yankees, again, they kind of have a stacked lineup. They have Giancarlo Stanton, they have Aaron Judge, they have Volpe, they have They're like the professionals. They're similar but different than the Padres, if that makes sense. The Padres, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, the Padres are arrogant. Let's be honest. They're arrogant. They're immature. The Yankees are mature, but they're both still good. Now, the Padres will never win anything because they're immature. I'll talk about this later. But the Yankees are professional. Now, you did see that little Volpe thing against the Royals. Maybe there was a little bench clearing. Nothing too much. But out of the 12 guys that voted for who will win the ALCS, 11 of them chose the Yankees and one of them chose the Guardians. Now, 4 of those 11 votes said that it would go to 7 games, 6 said that it would go to 6 games, and then 1 said it will end in 5 games. And the MVP, if the Yankees win, would be either Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, Garrett Cole. And for the Guardians, that 1 vote thought it would go to 7 games and that the MVP would be Jose Ramirez. And I just think that's hilarious. I think that's hilarious that one guy thought that the Guardians were going to win it. So I do think the Yankees make it to the World Series. I think it's going to be a Dodgers-Yankees World Series. And let's be honest, that's what I've been hoping since the beginning. This is what I've been hoping for the last few seasons. I want a Dodgers-Yankees World Series. I think that'd be the best thing for baseball. If we're being completely honest, that's what baseball wants. I mean, you see a Dodgers or a Yankees hat if you see a Dodgers hat in New York, or even most Yankees hats in New York, a lot of them aren't really Yankee or Dodgers fans. It's just like they like the design, or it's just the hat that they ended up buying or whatever. But I do think that this would be good. They're both, in the past, have been the most popular team, and I think currently still are the 2 most popular teams, especially with Shohei now with the Dodgers. I just think that it would be a good series in general. I think it would be a good head-to-head matchup, and I think that overall for baseball, it would get a lot more publicity if it was the Dodgers and Yankees. Now, I think if it was the Subway Series, the Mets and Yankees, I don't think that would be good at all. The Mets, I don't think the Mets are good. I think that they're good culturally. I think that they, like I said, with the OMG, the playoff pumpkin and the grimace, whatever, I think that they're good in that sense. Culturally, they have a good family bond, I think, but player-wise, I just don't think that would be good. And it being just in New York, the Subway Series, I just don't think that would be good at all. So I'm hoping for Dodgers-Yankees. If it ends up being Guardians-Dodgers, I'm fine with it. I just don't really obviously, I want the Dodgers to win. If it was a Mets-Guardians series, I wouldn't be mad with that. I would think that the Guardians would win that too. So there's my little playoff predictions for the rest of the postseason. I'll talk about it more next week. The series probably won't be done by my next time filming. Especially if we film twice. But yeah, let's talk about the Dodgers bullpen game. So let's talk about the Dodgers. Let's talk about the Dodgers-Padres series in general. What a series that was, first of all. I'll give it to the Padres. They put up a fight for the first few games. After that, offense was dead. 24 innings without scoring a run. You cannot win a baseball game without scoring a run. Period. Now, that's not you cannot. It is impossible for a team to win without scoring a run. And the Padres just lacked that. Their offense was lacking in the last 2 2/3 games. And that's just ultimately what it led up to. The Dodgers bullpen absolutely dominated. Every postseason, every DS for the last few seasons, we've had to throw a bullpen in a must-win game, which I don't understand that. I think it might be a little Mark Pryor. I think that might be Mark Pryor. But bullpens did phenomenal. I do think the Dodgers have one of the best bullpens, but I think we rely on them too much. Like in Game 1, Yamamoto only went through 3 innings, and then we had to pitch a bullpen game after that. Jack Flaherty didn't do great in Game 2. Had a bullpen game. Buehler did, I think, somewhat well, even though we lost. I think Buehler did somewhat well. And then we had the bullpen game. We were just relying on our bullpen way, way, way too much. I just don't think it's I don't think it's worth it. Not worth it. I just don't think it's doable. And I think that's the only thing that the Dodgers lack in postseason. They have the postseason experience. They have Max Muncy and Kike Hernandez, which every year in October, they just go off for some reason. They have the players. They have Shohei Ohtani. They have Mookie Betts. They have Teoscar Hernandez. They have Freddie Freeman. And the list goes on and on. We just don't have the bullpen. We have the starting pitching. Yamamoto, Shohei, when he comes back. Again, we have 17 other pitchers that are injured or whatever. But I think that the only thing that the Dodgers struggle with is their bullpen. Not with their bullpen, is with their pitching. We just don't have pitching that is healthy. That's just ultimately what it leads up to. But like I said, the Padres went 24 innings without scoring a run. You can't win a game without scoring a run. And there are 3 guys I absolutely hate on the Padres. Now, the Padres, I've always been pretty much open, especially with doing this podcast. I've been trying to be a little unbiased publicly, if that makes sense. Now, whether that's true or not, that's for you guys to decipher. But they're Profar. Game 2, so the Dodgers win Game 1. In Game 2, Profar, like second batter, Shohei gets out, whatever. Mookie, Profar robs a home run, doesn't show the cameras. Nobody knows if he caught it or not. He's chirping at the Dodgers fans. Game 2 was absolutely wild. It's like, bro, first of all, you are down by 5 games in the regular season, and then you're down 1-0 at the time of that incident. And that's where I'm talking about, like I said earlier, the difference between arrogance and confidence. Now, the Padres are just extremely immature. And then you had Machado going at Flaherty. Now, did Flaherty start it? Maybe. But Machado keeps going at it. Now, was the ball thrown directly at Dave Roberts? Now, you could decipher whatever you want. You could think whatever you want. But Machado, I don't like that he kept chirping at Flaherty and stuff like that. Now, again, was Flaherty kind of in the wrong? Maybe. Was the Dodgers overreacting to Machado throwing the ball towards the Dodgers? Maybe. But I just don't like Manny Machado in general, even before this incident. And then Profar, and then Tatis. Tatis is just chirping at the Dodgers fans. Now, he started this after he got caught doing steroids. Now, first of all, you're in the wrong for doing that. You can't do steroids. You know that. It's in the contract that you signed for millions and millions and millions of dollars that you cannot do steroids. And guess what you do? You do steroids. And then after that, he was chirping at the Dodgers for obviously like that, whatever. Everybody remembers that. And then the Dodgers fans are throwing stuff at Profar because, again, it's kind of a longer story than what I'm going to explain. Basically, Profar gives a ball to the Dodgers fan that he basically robbed the home run through. That fan throws it onto the field, not directed at any player, but throws it onto the field, and then guys on the upper deck start throwing stuff at Profar because, again, Dodgers fans hate Profar now. I didn't have a problem with Profar until Game 2, until like the 6th pitch of Game 2, and the whole thing, you had to get the players off of the field. Profar's talking to the umps. Tatis is talking to the umps. The umps, in my opinion, I think this is what the umps are saying, is like, hey, stop chirping at the fans. If they do it again, whatever, we'll find the Dodgers. Do whatever you got to do to the Dodgers. But Tatis goes back to the outfield and starts chirping at the Dodgers again. Hey, guess what? What's going to happen if you keep chirping at the Dodgers that are already throwing stuff at you? They're going to continue to throw stuff at you, and then you're going to be mad crying to the umpires. They're just immature. The Padres are immature. Merrill, I don't have a problem with. Merrill, I think, is an incredibly talented player, and I don't have a problem with. Same with Arias. I think Arias is very talented. He gets a hit pretty much every at bat. Not every at bat. He has the highest batting average out of anybody in the league. I respect that, but it's at the point where you get to Machado, Profar, and Tatis where you cross the line, and that's where I really do not like those guys. Let's go on to some more MLB news. Tropicana Fields. Now, if you guys have been living under a rock or not in the Florida area, a somewhat big hurricane came through the west coast of Florida, Hurricane Milton, and it brought along a lot of tornadoes, a lot of winds, a lot of storms, a whole bunch of stuff. And now, if you live in Florida, you can't really be scared of storms. Now, that's just like a known kind of thing. Don't be scared of hurricanes. They happen. You can't live in Florida and not be scared of hurricanes. But there was a ton of tornadoes. There was a ton of tornadoes that ripped up a whole bunch of towns across all of Florida. It came in through the west coast. Hey, it came in even through the east coast. It absolutely destroyed the east coast as well. But not so much the hurricane, but the tornadoes. Now, I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on this yet. But Tropicana Fields, their roof got completely ripped off, and they were using that as like a shelter for first responders. There was like 10,000 first responders stationed there that they could stay in, whatever. And the roof. Now, I don't know how many of you guys have actually been to the Rays Stadium or even seen it. It's like a cloth kind of thing, material on the top of the roof. Like, obviously, I've never touched the roof of Tropicana Field, but it's nothing sturdy. It's no metal. It's no wood. There's some metal structure up in there, but nothing major like that. Again, I'm not sure if it was a tornado or the hurricane that actually hit it, but the roof just completely fell apart. Now, the Rays owners or whatever could pay for a new roof, or they could relocate for next season. Again, they're not in the playoffs or anything. They have 5 months to figure this out. But or they could try to rent out a new stadium until they get a new stadium up again. There's a lot of possibilities. Now, is it worth rebuilding that roof? And obviously, a whole bunch of the inside was ruined from the tornadoes and hurricane. I don't know. I have a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. But yeah, I feel bad for the first responders that were staying there, and then obviously for the guys that have to pay and clean up Tropicana Field. And it was just, nobody was really expecting that part of it. So that's it for MLB news. Let's move on to top 5 sports fan bases. Now, we've seen some determined fan bases in sports forever. They've been on forever. Now, we are going to rank the top 5. Let me know if I've missed any, because I feel like I've missed some. But at number 5, you have the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? This is our year. They are very determined every year that this is their year. But ultimately, it will never be their year. But you know what? We'll give it to the Cowboys fans. They are very determined. You got the Tony Romo lovers. You know, it's just they're at 5. They're at 5 for a reason. They're not at 1. They're not at 100, but they're determined. They don't give up on their team, I feel like. I feel like they're very strong on their team. I feel like they have an easy division, and they stay with the Cowboys. At number 4, you have the Yankees. Now, the Yankees, like I said earlier in the podcast, they have a very big fan base. Now, they have a very big fan base, but I feel like it's diluted. Now, there's some Yankees fans that only follow the Yankees. They strictly, and I feel like that's what most Yankees fans are. They strictly just follow the Yankees, and then there are hardcore Yankees fans, and then there are Yankees fans that just like wearing the hat. But I do think overall that they have a very professional, and I think they have a top 5 fan base. So that's why they are at number 4. At number 3, I was trying to think of some colleges. Now, you obviously have Texas A&M, you have Penn State, you have all these college fan bases, but you know what sticks out to me the most is LSU. I think LSU has the best fan base in sports, and so that's why they made podium. They're at number 3. At number 2, this could have been number 1, but you'll understand why I didn't put them at number 1 in a second. But Bills Mafia, they jumping on tables, they painting their face, they're getting tattoos. They have a very, very determined fan base, and I respect it. I respect Bills Mafia. I think the Bills have a good team this season, and so yeah, that is why they're at number 2. But number 1, now this might be a little unfair. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This might be a little unfair, but you have all Phillies fans. I couldn't decipher which ones. So you got the Philadelphia Phillies, you have the Eagles, you have the what's the hockey team? The Flyers. You just have you have the Pirates. You have all of these Philly teams, and yeah, I think that Philly just has the best fan bases. They have the most determined, but they stick to their group. I think most, not all, I think most Philly fans stick with all the Phillies fans, if that makes sense. So like, again, if it's the Pirates, if it's the Eagles, like they all kind of stick together. So yeah, they're at number 1. The greatest sports fan base is all Phillies fans. So that is top 5. Let's move on to our sponsored segment. We have Dubby. I reviewed this last week. We have Dubby.gg. Make sure to use code HatTrick Sports when checking out. We're gonna try a new flavor. Last week we tried this one last week. It was mango orange cream. Again, I really liked it. I believe I ranked it at 9.6, 9.7 or something last week. This week we have Big Energy Tears, a blend of the finest blue raspberries. Let's see what it gets. So basically what you do, again, I'm going to try to get in this camera angle. You first got to take, first time trying this. I got to take this off somehow. There we go. You open it up. They're pretty cheap, and it could be cheaper if you use code HatTrick Sports when checking out. So basically you get your W water bottle. You get your scoop. It comes with a scoop and a little dry thing in here so it doesn't get wet in here. You take 1 scoop, you dump it in, put that on, put that back, just like that. It won't cause any jitterness or crashes or none of that good stuff. Keeps you energized. It's healthy for you. And you shake it up. Shake it, man, shake them. So W Energy, use code HatTrick Sports. 1 sip, everybody knows the rules. Blue raspberry flavor. Oh, wow. I think I need to shake it more, but that is really, really good. That is better than the mango one. That's the best one I've had so far. I'm not even like saying that because they're sponsored. That is the best one I've had. Holy cow, that 9.8. Blue Raspberry W gets a 9.8. That was the best W energy drink flavor I've had. I highly suggest the Blue Raspberry one. It's called, what's it? It's Big Energy Tears. Big Energy Tears gets a 9.8 on the one sip. Everybody knows the rules. Let me get one more. That was amazing. So this will keep me energized. Like I said, we're a few minutes away from kickoff. I can watch all the football games, playoff games. I can edit all this. I can do all this without having to worry about crashing, and that will keep me up and energized. So thank you for W for sponsoring this podcast. Make sure to use code HatTrick Sports for 10% off your order. Make sure to go to w.gg, use code HatTrick Sports for 10% off. Helps me out, helps you out, helps W out. It's a win-win-win. All right, let's move on to our NFL Pickems. NFL Pickems, let me move it right along here. We are on to Week 6. Week 6. So we had the Thursday night. We had the London game. Let's start off with the Bucks and Saints. So Bucks Saints. Give me the Saints. You have the Commanders Ravens being played in Baltimore. I think it'll be a close game, but give me the Ravens. You have the Cardinals Packers. Easy Packers. You have the Colts and Titans. A little division matchup. I think that the Titans end up winning it. Again, I think that's another close game, but give me the Titans. Texans, Patriots. Give me the Texans, Patriots, without Bill Belichick, without Brady, without Gronk, without any of them. Nah, they're nothing. You have the Browns and Eagles. This is a 6, 7, 8-point favorite. Eagles, give me the Eagles. You have the Chargers and Broncos being played in Denver. Huge home field advantage in Denver. So give me the Broncos. You have the Steelers and Raiders. Give me the Steelers. Falcons, Panthers. Panthers suck. Give me the Falcons. You have the Lions and Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? Lose. Give me the Lions. The Lions really good this season, and I think they have a bright future. You have the Bengals and Giants. The Giants are one of the worst, if not the worst, teams in the league right now. So give me the Bengals, and then for the Monday Night Football, you have the Bills and Jets. Give me the Bills. I think the Bills go almost, if not all the way this season. All right. So that is our Week 6 NFL Pickems. Let's move on to some more NFL news. Russell Wilson is likely to be the QB2 for this week's Steelers against the Raiders. So he's gone through a full week of practice. He's done his recovery. Obviously, he had that calf injury in training camp, and I'd like to see how he does. Obviously, as a Seahawks fan, I have my own thoughts about Russell Wilson. Yes, he helped us win one, but he also helped us lose one. He's been passed around. He went to the Broncos, didn't really do much there. Let's see what he could do with the Steelers now. But he's the QB2. We'll see if or when he gets any playing time, and I want to see how he does. I'm actually interested to see how he does. Again, W. I can't get enough of this W. Let's go. All right. And then another thing in NFL news is we have David Montgomery, running back for the Lions. He has recently signed an $18.25 million extension for 2 years with the Lions. I have some stats or stuff up here. Yeah. So Montgomery, who is 27 years old, joined the Lions last season, 2023 season, as an unrestricted free agent. And last season was his first season with the Lions. He had... the running back had 219 carries for 1,015 yards, 13 touchdowns, 16 receptions for 117 yards in 14 games. Hey, I think this is worth it. I think this is a fair deal for the Lions, and I think it's a fair deal for Montgomery. I think that they did a good job with this. All right, let's move on to my favorite segment, Hall of Fame. Yay or nay? All right, Hall of Fame, yay or nay. We are back to football Hall of Fame, yay or nay. We have Kirk Cousins, 4-time Pro Bowler. He won some sort of award in 2015, the PFWA MIP award. Like I said, 4-time Pro Bowler. He played for the Redskins when they were the Redskins, Vikings, Falcons. He was passed around a little bit there. He's played 155 games in his career. He's been playing since 2012. He's only led the league in 2 things in his career. 2 things in completion percentage, 69.8 in 2015, led the league, and then in total yards with 342 in 2017. Now, 13 years he's been playing. I don't know. Will he make it to the NFL Hall of Fame? Maybe. Will he be in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame? No. Kirk Cousins will not be in the HatTrick Sports Hall of Fame. It is a nay from me. Actually, let's go through his stats. He's had over 40,000 yards. Yards per attempt, 7.6, 278 touchdowns, 115 interceptions, a career of 66.9 completion percentage. Yeah, it's just a no. I like the completion percentage, but other than that, nothing outstands me, and it's a nay. He does not belong in the HatTrick Hall of Fame, where eventually we will get a plaque with all of these guys' names on them. All right, so thank you guys for watching the 68th episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Make sure to check out Shop HatTrick Sports for your merchandise. Make sure to go to w.gg. Make sure to use code HatTrick Sports for 10% off your order. And we will see you guys next week for episode 69. All right.